Hello and welcome to our course of manufacturing method. In this course, we have studied about casting, and after casting, we have given some introduction about metal forming, and in the metal forming, we have already seen the rolling process. Now, this is the third lecture of module 2, and it is the eighth lecture of the course. That is, the title is forging, rolling, forging, extrusion, and drawing. So, in this lecture, we will study about the forging process first. Then we will see the different forging processes, and after that, we will understand about different extrusion and drawing processes. So, these are our learning objectives. With this, let's start our lecture. So, forging. What is forging? So, see, forging is a process of plastic flow of metal. It is a process of plastic flow of metal by application of compressive force, in which size and shape is changed permanently without failure. So what happened here? What is forging? When a block or stock or workpiece is given a compressive force by using what? By using hammer or some appliances which can give gradual loading. This type of application, when a compressive force is given to a body or stock, and that compressive force causes plastic flow in the material. That means the material bulk of the material here try to flow in a specific direction, so that the desired shape can be made. So this type of the operation is known as forging. The most common example of the forging you can see in smith forging, that is blacksmith. In blacksmith shop, in a blacksmith shop, they use they use they use smith forging. So this is the most common example of the forging. Now, in other word, we can say that the forging is defined as the deformation process. It is a deformation process in which workpiece is compressed between two dies using either impact or gradual pressure, or impact or gradual load to form the part. That means what is happening in case of forging? There is two set of dies, and by using these two set of dies, the material or stock, if this is stock, that stock is given gradual or impact loading, so that it can take the shape of the die cavity. So these are the this is called forging. This is the forging process. Now, so all the materials are not forgeable. So what are the forgeable materials? Forgeable materials are those metals and alloy which can be brought to plastic state through heating. So the material which can be brought to plastic state through heating. So that means the transition temperature, those material which has lesser transition temperature, that can be used as a forgeable material. So forging is a process of giving shape to the material at its semi solid state. So that's why it is, in case of forging, what is done first? The metal is heated, red hot condition is achieved. After that red hot condition, compressive force by gradual application or impact application is given to the job, so that our desired product can be made. So this is the whole concept of forging. So we will see now what are the generally used forgeable materials. Those are: first, aluminum and their alloy, copper and their alloy, magnesium and their alloy, tungsten and their alloy, and all type of the carbon steels, stainless steels. So these are the forgeable material. These are the material which can easily forgeable, And the forgeable, to be a forgeable material, what are the primary requirements? The primary requirement for being a forgeable materials are that material should have enough strength. Secondly, that material should have enough malleability. What is malleability? Malleability is a property of a material by virtue of which it can be transformed, or it can be formed into a sheet. That is the property called malleability. Similarly, the material should be resistant to fatigue. Resistance to fatigue means it should be resistant to cyclic loading. That means there is, if we give impact loading, then there is successive load operation or successive load cycles. The material should resist that fatigue strength. That material should resist the fatigue failure that is generated inside the material due to those load cycles. Next is durability. The material should be good durable, and it should have shock or bending resistance. And lastly, it should have some amount of machinability. So these equipped with these properties, any material can be a forgeable material. So for being a forgeable material, strength, malleability, resistance to the fatigue, durability, shock or bending resistance, and machinability are important. So if a material is forgeable or not, that is indexed by what? It is indexed by forgeability. So what is forgeability? Forgeability is the ability of the material. It is the ability of the material to know if it is or whether it is forgeable or not. So this term should be remembered, that is forgeability. So forgeability mainly depends on the temperature. This mainly depends on the temperature. So that means at higher temperature, forgeability of the material is more than at room temperature. So that's why forging is done at hot or warm condition. So forging is done at hot or warm working condition. So this is the reason. So uh, till now I guess we are clear. Now we will see about what is the classification of forging. So there are two types of forging. First one is open or smooth or flat die forging. Secondly, that is closed or impression die forging. In case of open or smooth die forging, that is subclassified in hand forging or power forging. In power forging, again that is classified by hammer forging or press forging. Similarly, in case of closed or impression die forging, the sub-classifications are drop forging, press forging, and machine forging. In case of, now we will see the difference, what is open die forging and what is closed die forging. In case of open die forging, what happens? The which material can be processed? In case of open die forging, material with no surface texture or material with no surface detail can be processed. That means when a material, when we need to make a shape like this without any surface detail, without any detail in the surface, such like lettering, embossing, or etc. If we want to make a piece like this can be made by open die forging. In case of open die, flat die, or speed forging, what happened? There is a bed, there is a flat bed, that bed is called anvil. Now, and in the anvil, the material or material stock is placed, and by some manner, by using hammer or by using press, the impact force is given on the workpiece. the impact force is given on the workpiece, and the material is deformed by successive impact force that is given on the given directly on the workpiece by and that workpiece is placed between the hammer and the flat die. So as there is flat die is used, so it is called flat die forging. This is the most oldest process of forging, and it is largely used in the blacksmith shop. So it is also called smith forging, and there is no cavity used. That's why it is called open die forging. Similarly, in case of close or impression die forging, now if we have to make a shape like coin, like we can see in our coins. So what we can see in our coin, there is some embossing. There is some embossing like this. There is some embossing like this. So this type of embossing done where there is a punch or there is a die which can have that integrate shape embossed here, and the material stock is put have been put here, and by applying force in another die, applying force above the die cavity, by applying force above the die, above the another die, what we can get closed die or impression die forging. In case of closed die or impression die forging, what happened? The surface impression can be seen in our product. So that's why it is called impression die forging. And similarly, the procedure is done in a closed die cavity, and the force is applied, above the die. So this is the difference, or this is the two different process, that is open die forging and closed die forging. In case of open die forging, now we will see detailed classification. See, this is open die forging. So this is the original shape. By first successive blow, by first successive force, by first of the successive force, what is happened? This shape is changed to this oval final shape, and this is the die 1, this is die 2. You can see very clearly that die is open, so that's why it is called open die forging. It has lesser accuracy than impression or closed die forging. Now in case of open die forging, we can see the detailed classification of them. So in case of open die forging, there are two main subtype. First one is hand forging. In case of hand forging, the forging is done by hammering the piece of metal when it is heated to a proper temperature. That means when it is heated to a red hot condition, at that time we place that red hot material in an anvil on the anvil, and we hammer the material so that the material can have desired shape. This hand forging process is mainly used in the blacksmith shop. So it is called, so that's why open die forging is also called smith die forging or smith forging. Next, the advanced versions of this hand forging is power forging. For large machine part that are that should be forged, cannot be made by using hand, so that is forged by power forging. So power forging takes less time than hand forging to complete the operation, and machines which work on the forging by the blow are called hammers, while those working by pressure are called press. So that we will come to the in the next topic. So but first, that understand first what happened, first what is developed. First, hand forging is developed. In the hand forging, the hammering is constant successive hammering is done. Constant successive hammering is done by using hand or by using human by using the energy of a human. So that in that case smaller amount of forging can be made, but the need is to have large machine part to be forged. That machine part forging, large machine part forging can be done by using power forging. It takes lesser time. So now from the beginning I am saying two words, that is the force or pressure or the compressive force can be given by the impact load or it can be given by the gradual loading. So what is the difference between impact loading or gradual loading? In case of gradual loading, the compressive load is given to the workpiece or stock in a small amount of a load at a time, and that load is increased. So that means the load will increase with time. In case of gradual loading, that means it will be zero at the beginning and it will increase to a certain value at certain time, after certain time. So this is the curve of gradual loading. Now in case of impact loading, what happened? The total amount of force is given to the workpiece at a time. So there is a constant loading force that would act at the time when there is connection between hammer and the die. So in case of power forging, those machine which gives blow or which gives impact load are known as hammers, and those which gives pressure in a gradual manner, so those machines are known as press. So in hammer forging, all power hammers employ the same general principle of operation, that is falling of a weight, sticking the blow with the entire energy is absorbed by the work. See, the entire energy is absorbed by the work. So in case of hammer forging, what happened? The heavy weight, that weight is known as counterweight or weight. That weight is fall from a distance to the desired workpiece, so that the workpiece will change its shape, and the total energy at every blow is absorbed by the workpiece. So this is the power for hammer forging. In case of power forging or in case of power press, what happened? The power press are mainly of hydraulic type. They give gradual pressure to the workpiece. These are of hydraulic type. The water pressure from the large capacity tank to pump to a pump, and then it is delivered on the press with the aid of an accumulator and distributor. So what happened? Fluid pressure is given to the workpiece. Fluid pressure is given to the workpiece, and that pressure given to the workpiece through a plunger is used to compress the material stock. It is used to compress the material stock. So in case of power press, mainly hydraulic presses are used, or and in case of hammer forging, the concept is in case of hammer forging, the load is an impact load or blow load. So that's the different type of open die forging. Now we will see about closed die forging. See, in case of closed die forging, this is the die. There is the die cavity is completely closed, and if this is the original shape by and this is the die. First, these two die are placed together. Then force is applied. Compressive force is applied from the both sides, so that the material takes the shape of the cavity. The material inside takes the shape of the cavity. So this will be the final step. And for making this step, what happened? The excess material will be extruded like this. Excess material will be extruded like this, and this excess material is known as flash. So in case of impression die forging, flash generation is a inevitable phenomenon. So that means there is always a flash generation in case of closed die forging. So again, closed die forging can be divided, subclassified in two terms. First one is drop hammer, second one is press forging. In case of drop hammer, they are they are used in making of drop forging. uh, so there is gravity or airlift drop hammer are the type of the drop hammer. Next, similarly, in case of press forging, the action of working is relatively slow squeezing. Instead of delivering heavy impact load or heavy blow that and penetrates deeply, because it gives the metal time to flow. The press forging dies required a mechanical means for ejecting the forging. There are two types of the press. First one is hydraulic press and second one is mechanical press. So these are the closed die forging type. Now we will see the some specific operation of the forging. So in first one is coining. The closed die forging that is used for make coin, medallions and jewelry is known as coining. Heading, upset forging at the end of the round rod. You can see in case of nails, bolt head, screw, rivets and other fasteners. Upper upset forging part is known as heading. Next is piercing. Piercing is process of indenting the workpiece with a punch to make a cavity is known as piercing. Next is incremental forging. When we need to have a forging have a final shape that 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 can only be done by successive small step of forging. So these successive small step forgings are known as incremental forging. What is upsetting? Upsetting or heading is the process of increasing the thickness of the bar and to reduce the length. So upsetting means to reduce length while increasing the thickness. Next is drawing down. This is the process of increasing the length by reducing the thickness. Drawing down means increasing the length by decreasing the thickness. Now another and most important part of forging is bending. It is classified as bending, which is classified as angular and curvilinear. Bending may be done over the edge of the anvil face, or over the horn and special form such as swage block edges. So bending means when this is a forging. Now we want to make that forging like this. So in this portion the bending is required. So bending is done by angular bending or curvilinear bending, and it is done on the horn portion of the anvil or on the edge of the anvil face. So this is the various forging process. Now we will see about extrusion. So what is extrusion? In extrusion, what happens in a cylindrical billet? In extrusion, this is a cylindrical billet. This cylindrical billet is forced out to have a reduced diameter from the material stock. See, by using some kind of compressive force, we press the ram here by and this ram is moved forward by pressing the material stock outward, and when it press the material stock outward, material is forced to move out from a reduced diameter orifice, and that would give us change in thickness or change in the cross sectional area. So this is the process of extrusion. This process of extrusion is completely analogous to our toothpaste, to making toothpaste out from the toothpaste tube. or making something out from a tube. So when we want to make the toothpaste out, what do? We give some force. We give some force at the back side, and by giving that force, material bulk is forced to come out from the opening, or that opening is very small. So this is the process how extrusion works, and the force required for extrusion depends on what? That the force requires depends on the strength of the material, that depends on the extrusion ratio, and the friction between. Extrusion ratio means ratio between initial and final area of the workpiece. And next, it depends on the friction between billet and the chamber die, and the other process variables such as temperature and speed of extrusion. These are also affect the force on extrusion. Now, extrusion type, there can be forward or backward extrusion. This example, this is an example of forward extrusion or direct extrusion, in which die is fixed and the material stock is pressed to move out from the orifice. So this type of the extrusion is known as forward extrusion or direct extrusion, where billet is forced by a punch through the die opening. So this is forward extrusion. In case of indirect or inverted extrusion, what happened? In case of inverted extrusion, this ram is fixed, but the die tends to move. When the die is moved towards the ram, what happened? The workpiece, the billet will have to reduce the diameter, and come out through the orifice of the die. So this is the uh, inverted or backward extrusion. So see here, die moves towards the unextruded billet. Here die moves towards the unextruded billet. Next is hydrostatic extrusion. So in case of hydrostatic extrusion, what happens? Smaller billet is pressured through a die by a triaxial compressive stress that affected by the fluid. When there is fluid is used to give triaxial compressive strength or triaxial compressive stress, that is known as hydrostatic extrusion. In case of impact extrusion, what happened? The force is not given gradually, as like in the backward extrusion. The force on the ram is given by successive blow or successive hammering. So this is the process by which, in case of successive hammering, this is the process by which what happened? By which that extrusion can happen. So this process is known as impact extrusion. Now we will see about drawing. Drawing is the metal working process which uses the tensile force to stretch the material, glass or plastic. So the metal is drawn or pulled. It stretches thinner into the desired shape and thickness. So what happens? If there is a material bulk, and in drawing, that bulk is pulled through a very small orifice that has desired shape, that has desired thickness or desired cross section, so that the bulk of the material can have the reduced cross section. So this is the process of drawing. Now in case of extrusion, what happens? Like difference between extrusion and drawing is, in case of extrusion bulk material is pushed, while in case of drawing it is pulled out. And another thing, drawing is a cold working process and it is used for highly ductile material. So drawing can be used for highly ductile material and it is a cold working process. So that's it for today, and in the next class we will see about sheet metal forming. Now these theories are important. In the live class we will discuss more in detail. So thank you till then. Have a good day.